What's up, guys? Happy Monday to you. It's a new week. There's a new event for us to get stuck into. Cyril Gane against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But before we get into this weekend's fights, we got to look back at our performance from the last card, UFC Fight Night, Derrick Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes. I obviously put a video out like this every Monday where we go over our profit and loss from the previous week, or if it's the first event in a new month, our profit and loss from the previous month. But in this video, we're going to be taking a look at everything I did on last week's card to see what went well, see what didn't go well. I hope you enjoy it. So, I haven't made any secret of the fact in my live streams or breakdown videos for that Blaydes versus Lewis card that I just didn't think that this was a very good event for pre-fight betting. I also have been quite vocal about the fact that the event before that, the Kamaru Owens versus Gilbert Burns event, was also quite bad for pre-fight betting. And I don't think this weekend Gane versus Rozenstruik is particularly good either. I would just compare this current little run of consecutive UFC events we're on as being like when you play, a long poker tournament and you just go through these periods in the poker tournament where you're just not getting dealt very many good hands, right? And when that happens, you've got two choices. You can either tighten up, keep folding those shitty hands and wait for the strong hands to come to you that you can play, or you can loosen up, try playing a wider range of hands, be a little bit looser, and obviously put your chip stack, put your bankroll, put your money at more risk, but you loosen up a little bit and continue to bet. I personally like to keep things tight, and I like to wait for those strong positions to come to me instead of loosening up. And I honestly think that's the right way to do things. Over the years, we've racked up profits. We've been able to grow our bankrolls, grow our account balances. And the times that we put our bankroll management, our account balances in trouble is when we actually force bets and we place bets on things that we shouldn't really be confident in because there aren't any strong positions to put our cash. When you get these big fights like the Curtis Blaydes, Derrick Lewis card, with 14 fights on it, you could feel, impulsive pressure to place bets because there's so many fights, even though there's no strong positions to put your cash. So it's really important in situations like this where we're getting a lot of fights, but we're not necessarily getting strong positions to put our cash. It's really important just to stay disciplined, keep it tight, and, not make any bad decisions and wait for those strong positions to come to us. So the last couple of weeks have been a bit dead for pre-fight betting. This weekend looks dead as well. We just keep things tight, ride out the storm, and wait for those strong positions to come. Now, the silver lining of, having big cards like the Lewis Blaydes card with his 14 fights is that they could be great for live betting, because obviously 14 fights, that's 14 different opportunities to snipe some strong positions to put our cash live. Now, as it happens, that Blaydes Lewis card turned out to be real bad for live betting because so many of the fights were one-sided or they ended very quickly. Now, the event before that, the Usman Burns event, was bad for pre-fight betting, but it did end up being very good for live betting. So, because I didn't have much action on this card in terms of pre-fight bets, there's not really much to talk about there. I am going to go over our performance from pre-fight bets from the last card. We haven't got too much to go over. To be honest, we don't have much to go over on live betting either. However, live betting is a little bit more interesting to talk about, for this event. So I'm going to talk about live betting in this video a lot more than I usually would. And of course, we are on this insane winning run with live betting. We could see just, dating back to when I first started tracking my results back in February 2016, non-stop profits, week after week after week after week. We've done consistently well. No major dips, no major bad periods. We've just been absolutely crushing it. And since the summer, dating back to July, we've just been on a crazy run. The last time we took a notable loss live betting the UFC was this UFC Fight Night Till versus Whitaker card all the way back on 25th of July. If we don't count our performance on Bellator, you can see that our performance live betting UFC has just been, absolutely insane. Take a look at this. So dating back to the 1st of August, we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is virtually break even. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, which is insane. This Magny versus Chiesa card is the only event we've taken a notable loss on since July, which is absolutely crazy. So we've gone 21-1 on the last 22 UFC events. And we really need to draw attention to this, man, and celebrate the fact that we've done amazing. Like, all the hard work that we put into fight research every week, you know, those 20 to 30 hours of fight research every single week is paying off. Because this winning run, a profit on 21 of the last 22 events, it's just stupid. Like, it's insane. The win rate is ridiculous. And every single week we're just moving the chains, putting a little bit more profit in the bank, keeping those account balances going, growing, and just letting compound interest do its work. And it's not stopping anytime soon. And the thing is, this is why it's so important to keep things tight and not loosen up and bet like a dickhead. Because we know we're absolutely gold. We know we're on the right track with live betting. We know we're on the right track with pre-fight betting. We know we're changing the game with lab bets. So every single week, we know we're on the right track. If there's no strong positions, we don't bet. It's as simple as that. So when the strong positions do come and we do bet, we have a very, very good chance of making a profit and keeping those account balances growing. When we have crappy cards, we don't want to put profit at risk. We want to keep it tight. And that's what we've been doing. And that's what we're going to keep doing. Until we've all got helicopters and fucking castles. I'm not joking. 21 of the last 22 events we made a profit on. We're just fucking crushing. And I'm not just talking about live betting, because you know for a fact the lab is changing the game on pre-fight bets. I'm just saying, this is it now. The hard work's paying off. 20 to 30 hours of fight research every week is grueling. It's not enjoyable. It's brutal. But it fucking pays off every Saturday night. So I do want to talk a little bit about live betting, because when it comes to judging, I'm really, really vocal about how poor judging in MMA can be. You know, I'm very, very good at going off on rants and criticizing judges or people in the MMA media that score fights incorrectly, because a big part of my job is to understand how to score MMA fights. It's as simple as that. Tom Brady wouldn't make a very good tight end or a running back. Cristiano Ronaldo wouldn't make a very good goalkeeper. Everyone's got their own speciality. Everyone's got that one thing that they're good at, or that they're better at than other things. My speciality is live betting on MMA. I'm a lot better live betting MMA than I am pre-fight betting MMA. It's my jam. It's my thing. You can see the numbers don't lie. We fucking crush. When have you ever seen a chart like that? It's fucking ridiculous. This is my jam. And a big part of that is really understanding how to score fights and how to preempt how the judges will score fights, so that we can get a very, very good read on the matchup as it's playing out. So I don't usually talk about what specific live bets we had, you know, what we bet, how we make money in live betting. But last week, I did make money live betting Yana Kunitskaya. You probably saw from the thumbnail we were going to talk about this. Yana Foxy Kunitskaya kept the money train chewing. She kept it going. We hit a live bet on Kunitskaya, underdog odds, sometime in round 2, and she came through for us in a big way, even though it looked like the decision was going to go against us. So I just want to talk about this decision, because I know it's a controversial one, and I want to explain my position on it, and I'd love to hear in the comments below what you think. I'd love to know what you think about what I say, what you thought of this decision after I say what I'm about to say. So, basically, at the end of the fight, I had kissed my money goodbye. I scored the fight 29-28 for Ketlen Vieira, and I thought I'd taken a loss on my live bet on Yana Kunitskaya. I thought it was gone. I was already like fucking writing the loss off. I thought Ketlen won the fight 29-28. Now, a big mistake that I see people make when they bet on MMA is that they bet on MMA without knowing how to score MMA fights. I know how to score MMA fights because I've read the official document which tells you how to score MMA fights 100 times. I've read this document so many times, I'll link to it in the description below. I know this document inside out, up and down, left to right, back to front. Probably better than anyone in the world. Even the dude that fucking wrote this. I probably know this criteria better than the dude that wrote it, because it's my job to understand this on a deep level, because this is a big component of how I put food on the table and pay my bills, understanding how MMA fights are scored. So I will say this, when we're live betting fights, I always say, it's not about how you score the round or you score the fight. It's about how the judges are likely to score the round and score the fight. And you never ever want to plant your flag in the ground and be 100% sure on the way that a judge is going to score a fight. What you want to do, the smarter thing to do, is to assign probabilities to how the judges are likely to score each round. So for example, I'll give you an example. You look at the first round, okay? Now, I think most of us with eyeballs can agree that Ketlen Vieira won the first round, okay? One judge, Sol D'Amato, actually scored round one for Kunitskaya, which is a terrible scorecard, but it happens. You never want to be 100% sure that a judge is scoring a round for a particular fighter. What you always want to do is be very open-minded and think, you know what? Vieira controlled Kunitskaya from top position for the majority of that round. Kunitskaya had her moments but didn't really achieve much. I'm like 70 to 80% sure the Vieira won round one. And you want to assign probabilities to that. You never want to be 100% sure. I'm explaining this because round 3 was where the fight was decided. I think most people can agree Vieira won round 1, Kunitskaya won round 2. They're easy rounds to score. The third round is what decided the fight. And as you can see here from all the journalists and people on MMADecisions.com, most people scored round 3 for Vieira. So did I. But as we know, most people in the MMA media don't really know much about MMA, and they don't really know much about how to score fights. They're too busy tearing the UFC apart and writing hit pieces on Dana White. They don't know things on a deep level when it comes to MMA. They're very good writers, they're very good at doing stories, but they probably haven't taken time to learn the actual scoring criteria for MMA. That's interesting, because I know there is one motherfucker on this list that does know how to score MMA fights, because I've seen him talk about it a lot. Sean Sheehan, man. This guy here has produced content on his YouTube channel. He talks about it all the time on Twitter. He talks a lot about how fights are supposed to be scored. So what I find really interesting here is, out of everyone on the list, if you would have covered up all the scores, if you would have covered up all these scores, right? And you would have said to me, out of all these names, who's the one person that is likely to have scored the fight for Kunitskaya? I would have said Sean Sheehan. Do you know why? Because he actually understands how to score fights. One of the only dudes on the list. So let me tell you this. In this video, I've been saying I scored the fight 29-28 Ketlen Vieira. Now, let me explain. A big part of making money on live betting MMA is trying to gauge how the judges will score the fight. So I will say this, and then I'll back up I'll back up my reasoning. If I'm scoring this fight, if I am sat cage side, and I am the judge for Yana Kunitskaya against Ketlen Vieira, I score the fight 29-28 Yana Kunitskaya. That's it. If I am scoring this fight, I'm scoring this fight after I have taken many hours to read this document as to how fights should be scored. Going by this document, I score this fight for Yana Kunitskaya. It's as simple as that. I think Yana won, judging by this criteria that everyone is supposed to use. The official scoring criteria. But my job has nothing to do with how I score fights. My job is dependent on how the judges will score fights. And so I'm always trying to preempt how the judges will score fights. And I think 9 times out of 10, MMA judges would have scored that fight for Vieira, because realistically the fight came down to that third round and Vieira dominated 4 minutes and 40 seconds of that third round. Kunitskaya finished strong with the elbows, but Vieira won the majority of the round. I think most judges 9 times out of 10 go 29-28 Ketlen Vieira. But I will say this, I think going 29-28 Kunitskaya was an amazing decision. I think it was a brilliant decision. And I think the Nevada State Athletic Commission judges have been absolutely fucking brilliant over the last 6 months. They've just been incredible. I've been talking about how amazing our results have been since back in July. And a big part of why our results have been so good is because of how good the judges have been. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Judges around the world are still very reluctant to use the scoring criteria that came in August 2016. Even 4 years down the line, they're still not using this criteria. They're still talking about octagon control and aggression and all this stuff. The Nevada State Athletic Commission judges have been brilliant, and I think they got this decision 100% correct. And if I was a judge, I would have scored it for Kunitskaya. Let me explain why. If we look at the criteria, it says that there's basically a specific order in which the fight should be scored. The first thing you should pay attention to is effective striking and grappling. You gauge who is more effective with their striking and grappling, and then if you can't really work out who is more effective between the striking and grappling, then you should move to plan B, which is aggressiveness, and then if you can't work out who's more aggressive, plan C, which is cage and ring control. But what that means is, if someone effectively outstruck their opponent, and it was clear they effectively outstruck them, maybe counter-striking from the outside or racking up major volume on them, aggressiveness doesn't mean anything, and neither does cage or ring control. It's totally irrelevant. You don't even consider it. So where we look at the Yana Kunitskaya versus Ketlen Vieira fight, we know Ketlen was dominating Yana for the first 4.5 minutes of the round, right? You know, had her in mount, had her back taken. But look at what the scoring criteria says. Legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with a potential to contribute towards the end of the match, with the immediate weighing in more heavily than the cumulative impact. And notice how you've got the first page of the scoring criteria. You've got this entire document. Notice how no other word in this document is bolded and capitalized apart from immediate. It's quite clear that judges should be weighing immediate damage more than cumulative damage. Which means, you know, if Ketlen Vieira hasn't landed any strikes and hasn't done any damage for the whole of the round, and then she gets reversed 20 seconds left to go in the round, and Yana Kunitskaya is hammering her with elbows, they weigh a lot more than any cumulative success throughout the round that Ketlen had. Look at the second paragraph. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous positions that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match, with the immediate weighing more heavily than the cumulative impact. Immediate. It shall be noted, read this, understand this, it shall be noted that a successful takedown is not merely a changing of position, but the establishment of an attack from the use of the takedown. Top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful, effective result of their actions, more so than their position. So if you read this, it says, if you read the scoring criteria, the first scoring criteria which should be taken into consideration, effective striking and grappling. And if you read the definition of effective striking and grappling, I think Yana Kunitskaya won the fight, right? She won the fight. You've got to look at it. Last 20, 30 seconds of the round, Ketlen Vieira getting absolutely hammered by elbows, cut very badly. Yana Kunitskaya looked like she'd gone for, a walk with her dog at the end of the fight. She'd barely broken a sweat. Ketlen was busted up really bad. Immediate damage weighing more than cumulative. And this is really important as well. This sentence here. Top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful, effective result of their actions. Look at how they've bolded it. Result of their actions more so than their position. So we talk about positions. What positions did Ketlen Vieira have in the third round? She had back control and mount. What was the result of that, of those positions? What did she achieve from those positions? Zero. Absolutely zero. Didn't inflict any damage, didn't attack with any submissions, didn't have Yana Kunitskaya in any trouble in that third round. But when Yana Kunitskaya took top position, what was the result of her actions? Well, she hammered Ketlen with elbows and busted her up real bad. I think Yana won the fight based on the official scoring criteria. I think this was a brilliant decision. I think the Nevada State Athletic Commission judges continue to be spectacular, and over the last 6 months they've done such a great job, and our results are showing it. So I will say this. I think we got very, very lucky in live betting last weekend, because I think most judges would have scored that fight for Ketlen Vieira, and I think we would have taken a loss on this bet. I think we got really, 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 really lucky. Most of the time we would have lost that bet. However, it was a great win for us because the judges did their job, and I think it was a phenomenal decision. I loved it. By the letter of the law, I think Yana won. But please let me know. This scoring criteria is open to interpretation, right? So let me know in the comments below what you think. But I will say this. Just look at this. Just look at the end of this fight. It's probably going to get all fucking shut down by YouTube or something, but just look at the end of the fight, right? Just check this out. Probably going to get copyright flagged for this, but it is what it is. Just check out the end of this fight. We'll only play 20, 30 seconds, right? Look at what happens when both these girls stand up. Look at what happens when both these girls stand up. Yana walks away. Right, Yana walks away. Look at the state on Ketlen. Doctors all around her to see how she's doing. Yana's fine. Yana's not got a scratch on her face. Yana has not got a scratch on her face. While doctors... And look at the amount of people attending to Ketlen. Yana's absolutely fine walking around the octagon. So to quote a great man, Rampage Jackson once famously said in his fight against King Mo, "Look at your face, homie." Who would you rather be at the end of that fight? If you take... if you just take a picture of both girls at the end of that fight, stop 100 people in the street and ask them who won this fight, 100 of them are going to say Yana Kunitskaya. That's not how MMA fights are scored, but I think on this occasion, the judges got it right, man. So I just wanted to talk about that. We very rarely talk about live betting, but every single week in live betting, we get nice, clean wins. There's no controversy. We're just banging out profit after profit after profit after profit every week. And this was the first time where it's like, do you know what? We got a little bit lucky there, so let's talk about it. So, like I said, there's two aspects to it. Yes, we got lucky, but not because it was a bad decision. We got lucky because judges usually wouldn't score that fight correctly. And I think Kunitskaya won. So it is what it is. Shout out the live betting crew, though. It's not stopping anytime soon. It's fucking helicopter season. And we've gone 21-1 on the last 22 UFC events. And it ain't fucking stopping. Because I don't know if you've realised, every Monday we wake up, punch in another 20, 30 hours of fight research, and then it pays off on Saturday. So we're going to keep going. Helicopter season continues this Saturday. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Did we get a little bit lucky last week? Yes, we fucking did. Have we paid our dues and lost about 20 split decisions last year? Yes, we fucking have. We were owed it. But I will say this. Shout out to the judges of Nevada State Athletic Commission. You are doing a fucking stellar job, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the money last weekend. Let's now transition into pre-fight bets, even though there's not that much to talk about. let's go through it anyway. For some reason, people on the YouTubes, they care a lot more about pre-fight betting than live betting. I don't understand why, but anyway, that's what most people care about. So, again, over the last few videos, I've been saying I need to find a better name for official bets. Official bets is so sucky, man. I will come up with a better name for it. Official bets is sucky. These are kind of like the bets I've been tracking for a long time. Need to think of a better name for them. But anyway, we didn't have any official bets. Zero, zilch, nada. At the beginning of the video, we were saying this was a sucky card for pre-fight betting. I didn't have any official bets, so it is what it is. Loose betting lab strategy bets. Let's see what we got. So we only had one bet. I went for Danny Chavez. Took a 2-unit loss, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. I thought this was a bad stylistic matchup for Jared Gordon. Danny Chavez would look really dangerous, really fast, really explosive standing. Gordon is super chinny, super fragile. You know, tends to get rock, drop, wobbled in every single one of his fights. I thought Chavez at about even money. Decent little, cheeky little loose bet there. It didn't win. But to kind of put into perspective for you how bad I thought this card was for pre-fight betting, you can see we only had one loose bet for this Blaydes versus Lewis card. Even on the Burns versus Usman card, which I also thought was bad, we only had 3 bets. And then the event before that, Overeem versus Volkov. I mean, look at this. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bets for that card. And these loose bets are doing phenomenal, man. This little 2-unit loss doesn't even put a scratch in our performance this month. I think we're up about 10 units this month on these loose betting bets. So it's all good. This results chart hasn't been updated yet. It only gets updated once a month, so it'll be updated at the end of February. But I think we're up to about 40 units of profit now. So the results chart will be up here somewhere when it gets updated. So loose bets, we took a little loss, but we kept it tight. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video. Just protect profits, man. Protect those profits. So then we go on to the main event picks experiment, which ironically is the only experiment in the lab at the moment that's on a loss. And I went for 5 units on Curtis Blaydes, and that was a loser. So as you can see, more misery for the main event picks experiment. Just losses, 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 and a struggle city on these main event picks. I guess it's kind of to be expected in a way, because if you read like the documentation that that accompanies this experiment, obviously this main event picks experiment is completely centered around being forced to pick someone in every main event. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video, one of the biggest weapons we've got over the bookies is we could choose when to bet, you know, choose when to snipe, choose when to put our money in strong positions. I think the reason why I'm not doing well on this experiment is because I'm forced to place bets. There's no way I ever would have bet 5 units on Blaydes. I just wouldn't have done it. It was a stupid bet. But I didn't want to fucking, you know, set fire to... Oh, it's actually put Blaydes versus Volkov. That's wrong. Let me just edit this real quick. You know, I don't want to be frivolously tossing around 1 unit bets on guys I think are going to get smoked anyway. You know, Derrick Lewis did great. He won. But yeah, this main event bets experiment is just not going well. We'll keep it going. It's still a pretty small sample size at 53 bets. Maybe we can turn it around. But I think the fact that I'm forced to place bets is the reason why my performance on this experiment is not great. Which is a strange one, because the even money bet is going well. Which is a little bit strange. So... main event bets aren't going well, and I'm forced to bet every main event fight. That could be the reason why it's not going well. But the even money bet experiment is going well. And with the even money bet experiment, I'm forced to bet every fighter in the odds range from 1.65 to 2.30, which basically means every single time there's a fight from odds of 1.65 to 2.30 in an even money odds range, I have to put a pick in, because my rationale for this experiment is where we put 20 to 30 hours of fight research in every week, our edge should be big enough that we could turn a profit betting even money fights, because our win rate will probably be higher than 60% on them, because we put the work in to get quite a good read on the majority of these matchups. So it's just an experiment. So what's interesting is I'm forced to bet the main event picks in the main event experiment. That's doing bad, but even money bets is doing well. Last weekend there were 5 even money fights, and we went 3-2 on those fights for a very small profit, probably around break even. We went 3-2, had Castaneda, O'Neill, and Hawes the win. Lost on Landwehr and Chavez. And yeah, we're doing well on these even money bets. Again, this chart has not been updated, but we've had a good month on even money bets. You can see a lot more winners than losers on these even money bets. And so, we should be up here, or something up here when this results chart gets updated at the end of the month. Onto over under bets now. I did have 2 over under bets, which is quite a lot actually for me. We went for the under 2.5 rounds in Julian Erosa, Nate Landwehr, and the under 2.5 rounds against in the fight between Charles Rosa and Derrick Minner. We went 1-1 for basically break even. 1-1 for about break even. A negligible loss, 0.09 unit loss, so basically break even. But over-unders are doing very well. Also, we are in profit this month on over-under bets, thanks to this winner on the under 4.5 rounds in the Overeem versus Volkov fight. So we'll be up 1.5 units this month, so this profitability chart, once it gets updated, will also be up. And then the final thing we've got to review is prop bets. Like I always say, my strategy with prop bets is just to take a spread betting approach. So whenever we're betting on highly specific outcomes, you're going to have a lot of variance, because MMA is a very, very chaotic sport. So when we look at prop bets, because we're going for high risk, high reward outcomes, or we're going for high risk, high reward bets, we know that the vast majority of them are going to lose. So I take a spread betting approach to this, where if you think of like a roulette wheel, if you just put all your money on 13 black, very, very low probability of you winning, right? Because there's another 46 numbers that, the roulette wheel can end up spinning on. But if you spread your money out across lots of numbers, you stand a much higher chance of getting a return. Now, obviously, that's a bad example, because in roulette, the casino's got the edge, whereas when it comes to MMA betting, we've got the edge, because, we do the research, which enables us to, dig for strong positions to put our cash. But that's the spread betting approach I take to prop bets, where the vast majority of prop bets will lose. The win rate will be very, very low. But because we're going for these high risk, high reward bets, you only need to win a small number of them to make a profit. So my strategy for these prop bets are, if you win 1 bet, you make a small loss. If you win 2 bets, you make a small profit. If you win 3, 4, or 5 bets, you make a big profit. So as it happens, last week, we hit a bet on John Castaneda to win by knockout at TKO at 6.0. We lost on this one. We lost on that, although it was pretty close. O'Neill did have Dobson in some bad positions on the ground, but got the finish by ground and pound instead. So that was a pretty nice one at 9.0. We lost on that. We won on Sergey Spivak to win by knockout at TKO at 7.0 plus 600. We lost on that. We lost on that. We lost on this, but that one did come pretty close to hitting. Phil Hawes was in some trouble in that 3rd round. And we lost on that, we lost on that, and we lost on that. So we made 5 units on this one. We made 6 units on this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 losing bets. So on props, we made an overall profit of 2 units. Definitely not what you want on props. I like to try and earn much bigger profits on props. But hey, remember what I said. It's all about protecting profits. These bets are just a little bit of fun anyway. But anyway, you can see these prop bets, crazy swings, crazy ups, crazy downs. But overall, we are profitable on them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm now going to go and fire up a live stream and jump into our research for UFC Fight Night, Gane versus Rosenstrike. I hope you'll join me. Hope you'll come join me on twitch.tv/Diary of a Pro Gambler, or on my website. If you go to community, go to fight research streams, live streams, you can catch all my live streams on my website or Twitch. And yeah, thank you for watching. Take care, everyone, and have a great week. Hopefully we could do a little bit better this week, because last weekend's card was dead. But again, man, can't force bets. We'll just stay patient, wait for those strong positions to come to us, and hopefully we can keep moving the chains, keep that profit train going, and yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. Take care. I'll see you all soon.